Good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. And I'm Hishain Ali. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Lawmakers debate on the amendments to the People's Banks Acts. Lake passenger boat service launched today to minimize traffic congestion. News in detail. The debate on the second reading of the People's Bank Amendment Bill was taken place in the Parliament this morning. The bill, which provides for the bank to issue debentures and maintain an authorized share capital, was presented to the Parliament on the 24th of May this year. Here, the State Finance Minister, Iran Vikramaratne, briefing the parliamentarians over the planned amendments to the People's Bank Act.
It's like any other default. If there is a default on any liability or any obligation, because the 13th section will not permit a conversion to a non-government entity, it will not permit it, then it will remain in the hands of government. That is the way this has been actually designed. This provides for the bank to actually go into the debt market, which it didn't otherwise have, because the other banks had the opportunity of going into the debt market. Now this bank has the opportunity of going into the debt market. The decision can be taken by the bank, because all other Sri Lankan state-owned banks have that right. Only the Bank of Ceylon doesn't have it, because it requires it to get a guarantee from the government. This releases it from getting that guarantee, so it can go in straight into it. Then in 2016 and 18, the central bank repeatedly stressed the importance of bolstering its regulatory capital levels, right? And the monetary board, right, reiterated this in a letter in early 2019, that the central bank requested the bank to expedite its act amendments to enable the bank issue debentures to meet its regulatory capital.
The passenger boat service operating on the Berry Lake from Union Place to Colombo Fort was launched under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today morning.
This project was proposed by Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Partly Champika Ranawaka. Thus, the boat service, which was proposed as a solution for the heavy traffic congestion in the city, is managed by the Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation. Accordingly, the passengers will be given the opportunity to utilize the boat service free of charge for 1 month since commencement. The chairman, Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation, Roshan Gunawardena, said estimated time of commuting between Colombo Fort to Union Place via the boat service is 9 to 10 minutes.
Minister of Tourism Development, Wildlife and Christian Religious Affairs, John Amaratunga, states that the Bora Global Convention 2019 in Colombo, which would bring 25,000 foreign participants to Sri Lanka, will be instrumental to the country's tourism industry. Minister Amaratunga shared this information at a media briefing held at Colombo today.
The more important thing also in the midst of this situation is the recent decision by Bora community to hold the annual convention program in Sri Lanka. We were trying to do it last year, but could not have it, so it went to another destination. Finally, with all the assurances given by the Ministry of Tourism and the government of Sri Lanka, they have decided to have it here in Sri Lanka, starting from the 1st of September to the 10th. However, even though we say the 1st, already some of them have started to arrive. The largest number of people arriving from that group is said to be around 25,000 participants from the different parts of the world. They are coming from all the countries in which their organizations are there. So this is one of the major breakthroughs for the tourism promotion, to increase our numbers and also to increase the income.
Reiterating Minister Amaratunga's claims, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, Kishore Gomez, explains how the Bora Global Convention 2019 will help to increase the tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka in this September and October compared to the corresponding months last year.
Without this convention, we were to go up to about 155,000. So with this, it will be about 175. So the decline is going to be, just 35,000 only. But having said that, September last year was 149,000 tourists. October was 153. So we believe with the trend we see, we'll be able to surpass those numbers during this September and October. And we are chasing a target of 2 million.
Stay tuned for more news after this commercial break. Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Patali Champika Ranawaka, states that the United National Party should come forward with a new leadership along with a new alliance incorporating a new agenda. Addressing a media briefing organized by the Jatika Helorame in Colombo today, Minister went on to say that new leadership is highly essential to meet the requirements of the 1 million new voters of the forthcoming presidential election.
So, formally forming this alliance and declare this alliance to contest the forthcoming presidential election and the nominating the common presidential candidate is a must right now. So, without delay, the UNP should come forward and give kind of a leadership to form this alliance and nominate the presidential candidate, plus the common action plan and the collegial leadership that can govern this country in the next 5 years. Especially the new voters, 1 million new voters are going to vote in this election. So we think that the non-aligned vote base would be around 4 million. So all these democratic forces should join hand to defeat this family bandism again and make way for the prosperous Sri Lanka again with a new agenda, with a new restructured political alliance plus new collegial leadership to the country.
Speaking exclusively to our television on the economy of the domestic front, Governor of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Indrijit Kumaraswamy, states that the inflation in July of this year was 3.3%, which is little below the 4 to 6% target.
If you look at inflation as an indicator of the health of the economy at the domestic level, then inflation in July of this year was 3.3%. That is headline inflation in the Colombo Consumer Price Index. And that's actually a little below our 4 to 6% target. There could well be an uptick in inflation going forward, but it will remain well within the target range. And that we see inflation expectations are well anchored. The outlook is stable, so we don't see any deviation from the target as far as inflation is concerned. In addition, we have been seeing interest rates coming down. The average weighted core monetary rate, which is the instrument that the central bank uses to influence the short end of the market, has actually now come down towards the lower threshold, the lower bound of the policy rate corridor. The treasury bill rates, the treasury bond rates have all been coming down. The very last treasury bill auction, there was a slight uptick in the yields. But overall, we see that interest rates have been coming down.
Meanwhile, providing the official data on the inflation for the last month, the Statistics Department of the Central Bank says that the inflation slightly increased in July this year. Headline inflation, as measured by the National Consumer Price Index, increased marginally to 2.2% in July 2019 from 2.1% in June 2019 due to the monthly increases of the prices of items in both food and non-food categories.
Central Bank of Sri Lanka in a statement yesterday said that in July 2019, food and non-food inflation recorded -2.5% and 6.1% respectively. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis decreased to 1.9% in July 2019 from 2% in June 2019. When the monthly change is considered, the NCPI increased by 0.2% in July 2019 with the increases observed in the prices of the items in both food and non-food categories. Within the food category, prices of green chilies, fresh fish and potatoes recorded increases. Moreover, within the non-food category, prices of the items in housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels and recreation and culture subcategories increased during the month. The core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, remained unchanged at 6.1% in July 2019 on year-on-year basis. However, annual average core inflation increased to 4.7% in July 2019 from 4.4% in June 2019.
The second annual netball encounter between Muses College and Gateway for Mari Muses Rohini Alas Challenge Trophy will take place on the 7th of September at Gateway College grounds in Rotmalana.
The inaugural Mari Muses Rohini Alas Challenge Trophy, held in honor of the founders of the two schools, was held in June last year. In the opening game, the Muses College got the better of the Gateway girls with a slender margin of 2 points to win the game 27-25. The players to be watched this year include Rishmika Ratnayaka and Anisha Pereira of Gateway College, who represented Sri Lanka at the Asian Youth Netball Championship in Japan, and Tiana Bolyagala of Muses College, who represented the Sri Lanka schools team in Australia. The main focus of the encounter will be the under-20 match between the two schools, and an exhibition match will also be played between Methodist College and Gateway College, Kandy.
Stay tuned for stock updates after this break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 2.72 points to close at 5,905.02, and the S&P SL20 dropped 19.74 points to close at 2,898.29. The turnover was 586 million rupees and over 26 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all news for today. Do join us tomorrow with State of Business on our television. Until then, take care. Good night.